Hi everyone, my name is Shauna, in case you don't know, and welcome back to another video. I have been a Flash fan since I want to say like season 3 or season 4. That's when I finally watched The Flash, and then I stayed up to date with The Flash since then. The Flash Armageddon wrapped up last week, which was a 5-part crossover episode, and I wanted to sort of like talk about it and talk about my thoughts on it because it wasn't everything I hoped for, but it wasn't as bad as everyone is saying that it is. And by everyone saying that it is, I mean everyone roasts the crap out of the Flash on Twitter and on TikTok that I've been seeing. I see some fans, but I feel like the majority of the posts that I see about the Flash recently have been hate. So I sort of want to like not fully hate on it, but not fully love on it because it has problems, and I just have some thoughts, and I just want to talk about it, and I don't know what I'm doing with my arms. I should stop. I'm gonna go episode by episode. So the Flash Armageddon isn't like a normal crossover, because the normal crossovers when it comes to CW superhero shows is that you have like a 5-part episode that's split between a ton of different shows. Like it would be The Flash for episode 1, Arrow for episode 2, Supergirl for episode 3, things like that, which it makes sense why they didn't do that, because this crossover was definitely more focused on the Flash, and because of COVID, obviously it's probably safer to have less people involved in this whole crossover, and also probably because 2 of the biggest players in the DC universe are now gone. Arrow is now gone and Supergirl's now gone. I have very mixed feelings on those shows ending, but I'm just glad that they ended in the way that like was best for the show. Like it wasn't just canceled abruptly. And crossovers are probably going to look different for the time to come because of COVID, and also because Black Lightning is also ending. So that is another CW show down the drain. So let me just crack on into my thoughts on Armageddon, because I have a lot. So part 1 was a very lackluster opening to this big crossover event that they tried to hype up so much. The way that this was a crossover was that Ray Palmer was in this episode, which I like Ray, and I did enjoy getting to see him in this episode. I felt like it was a very like lighthearted episode, but it wasn't like as intense as the other episodes that I've seen in different crossovers on the CW. I did enjoy this episode, but it was definitely like nothing to go crazy about, nothing to freak out about. My cat is chilling out right here with me. She actually likes to watch The Flash. Like, I'll turn on The Flash and she lays on my legs with her little paws like that, and she's watching the TV, and then if I move my feet to block the screen, she'll raise her head to see it better. It is so adorable! Now on to Armageddon Part 2. I feel like Part 2 sort of went crazy. Like, it got really confusing, but I did enjoy it more than Part 1. It felt like it was more crazy, more fun, more intense, and I almost wish that Part 1 and Part 2 would have been like combined and pressed together, but because I feel like a 4-part Armageddon where some of these episodes would have been like combined more probably would have gone better, just in terms of pacing and in terms of like having the epic events happening sooner. I wasn't a super huge fan of the villain of Armageddon. Well, I mean, villain is complicated to say here, because the main guy, let me look up his name, Despero, the main guy Despero, I didn't like his animation. I've been feeling recently like The Flash has been having very crappy CGI, I'll say that, and Despero's was not that great. So Part 2 was more enjoyable than Part 1, but it did have its flaws. Now on to Part 3, which I enjoyed slightly more. Like, this Armageddon definitely did feel like each episode was getting better until the final episode, which I'll discuss why. So I really enjoyed the part of this episode where it was focusing on everyone besides Barry. So Barry was trying to do the Injustice protocols and get his speed taken away, which I thought was very like good of him to do that. Like, it's very self-sacrificing. However, it felt like it was a lot of just like dialogue and deep conversations between Jefferson and Barry, and I was a little bored. Like, I really like more exciting episodes than just episodes where it's more like deep conversations, which I don't mind deep conversations here and there. I just feel like a little too much in this episode, but I did enjoy everything else that was happening in this, where like Cecile was trying to track down Barry, Iris was looking into Joe's death. It was a really good episode, and I did overall really enjoyed this episode. Now on to Part 4, my favorite episode of this whole Armageddon. It was so fun, it was so crazy. Like, this is what I love about The Flash, so much creativity, so many plot twists that you aren't expecting. Like, you see this plot twist at the end of Part 3, but like it's more fleshed out in Part 4. I thought it was really creative and clever. It was the best episode out of Armageddon, possibly the best episode that I've seen in The Flash over the past few years, because Flash has been struggling these past few years. I'm always appreciative when they find creative ways to bring back Thawne, because Thawne is an interesting villain, and Thawne is like Barry's arch nemesis, so whenever he's creatively brought back, it's really interesting and fun to see him there. So part 4 was definitely my favorite, and I loved how we got Batwoman in there. Like, that was really cool. I love Batwoman. I love the new Batwoman, not just the old Batwoman. Like, I like both of them. And the thing about Batwoman for me is I like both of the characters, and I'm not gonna say like I like one more than the other, because I understand why Ruby Rose left and I was sad about that, but like, she needs to do what she needs to do to protect herself, and I just hope that the things that she has come out about aren't happening on Batwoman anymore with the new Batwoman actress, but I'm not sure. Now on to Armageddon Part 5, which was more enjoyable than Part 1, but it's like second to last if I were to rank them. Armageddon Part 5 had Mia Smoke come in, and Mia is a character who I have mixed feelings about. I mean, half the scenes that she's in I love her, half the scenes I hate her. I definitely love Catherine McNamara. Shoot, I don't know how to say her last name. I definitely do love Catherine, so I loved having her back on the show, but Mia isn't necessarily my favorite character. And also when she's talking about her brother being missing and needing to find her brother, I was sort of curious, because I'm wondering if they're trying to set up a spin-off, or I'm wondering if there's going to be another crossover episode either in The Flash or in one of the other shows where she finds her brother. Like, I'm very curious about that, because Arrow is obviously done, but it feels like Mia Smoke's story is not done. My issue with this episode had to do with Thawne. So Thawne going to the Flash for help didn't completely feel like right to me. It felt like off to me, I guess. And I felt like it was just a lot of conversation about whether to save him or not. But I didn't feel like necessarily all of these characters, like what they were wanting to do, save him or not save him. Like, I didn't feel like it always fit with their character, and I was confused why it was even up for debate when it's very clear that Thawne is like this evil guy and that he needs to die, yet there's people advocating for trying to get him to stay alive. Like, that didn't make sense for me. And the final part where Barry sort of like defeats Despero was not done well in terms of CGI. Like, it was not great. Okay, I swear in The Flash, like the first 2 seasons, I swear the CGI was better, but now it's just gone so downhill that I'm almost like just wishing they would stop using CGI as much, because it is that bad. And specifically CGI involving the Flash running. I'm like, hey, he's your main character, but it feels like some of these side characters you're putting more money and effort into getting their CGI to look better, but with the Flash it feels like, not the greatest. The end of the episode though made me very excited, because does this mean that Bart and Nora are gonna play large parts in this season or in a future season? Like, I'm very much looking forward to that, because I like Bart and Nora, specifically Bart. Like, I like Nora, she's great, but Bart, ooh, I love Bart so much. However, Jordan Fisher's wife just announced that she's pregnant, so like, is that going to impact his filming schedule? Because sometimes pregnancies do that. But he's not the one pregnant, so maybe it won't. I don't know. So that was really my thoughts on Armageddon, this 5-part crossover. My thoughts were a little all over the place. I think that there were good things about it, specifically the 3 middle episodes. However, I also thought that there was bad things about it, and I think The Flash has a long way to go before it can get back to the epicness of the first 2 or 3 seasons that made everyone fall in love with The Flash. I have a feeling that The Flash is going to be ending soon for various reasons, because the show has gone downhill, because some of the main members have left. Another thing is, I don't know if a lot of you look at Instagram stories, but Candace Patton, who plays Iris, she was doing a Q&A on Instagram. This was like back in season 7, and someone asked her the question, how do you feel about the show ending? And she was like, every show has to end at some point. And she didn't specify the Flash, but like, I couldn't figure out what else she could be talking about. So did she just spoil that the show's ending soon? Or was that just a fluke? Was she talking about a different show? Like, I was very confused on that, but I have a gut feeling that The Flash is going to be ending soon. I just hope that they can make a whammy of a final couple of seasons so that they can end in an epic and fun way that brings back the nostalgia and funness of season 1 and 2. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe to me if you haven't already. Feel free to leave your thoughts on The Flash Armageddon down in the comment section below. I upload videos 3 times a week, so my next video will be uploaded tomorrow on Tuesday. I hope all of you stick around to watch that, and until tomorrow, goodbye!